What is up YouTube, James Baek here, and welcome to an introduction to VGC 2018 and resources. So if you're brand new to VGC and you want to get started, I will be breaking down what is VGC, the resources on how to get started, and yeah, let's just get straight into the video. So the question is, what is Pokemon VGC? The Pokemon Video Game Championship, also known as VGC, is the official rule set format for official Pokemon competitive tournaments hosted by the official Pokemon Company International. There are several tournaments for the circuit, including Premier Challenges, Mid-Season Showdowns, Regionals, Specials, International Challenges, which are online tournaments, and International Championships, which are big tournaments where players from all around the globe compete in. And finally, the Pokemon World Championship. Players compete in tournaments to gain championship points in order to qualify for the Pokemon World Championship. So you can compete in any of the other tournaments without restriction. However, the Pokemon World Championship is an invite-only tournament, and you can only qualify through getting enough CP through this championship point bar system, depending on where you live. And players aim for the title of Pokemon World Champion, which only 3 of them for VGC every year, depending on the division. So let's go over the VGC 2018 rules for anyone who's not familiar with the rules. VGC tends to be a flat doubles battle rules, which means you have 6 Pokemon in a party and bring 4 Pokemon in each battle, level cap of 50, and you auto scale levels up or down to level 50. Items and species clause, which means you cannot have duplicate items or Pokemon. For example, you cannot have 2 choice bands on the same team, and you cannot have 2 Landers variants on the same team. Mega Stones and Z Crystals are legal. 5-minute player timer, which means you have 5 minutes to make move selections as well as Pokemon switching selections. And once that 5-minute timer is up, you do lose the game. So it's similar to chess in sort of way with chess timer. Similar to VGC 2015 and Pokemon Sun and Moon doubles battle spot formats, if anyone has played that before. All Pokemon in the National Pokedex are legal, excluding legendaries and mythical Pokemon. Pokemon such as Diancie, Kyogre, Dialga, Palkia, Arceus, those Pokemon aren't legal. And Pokemon must be obtained in Alola, so it has to be caught or bred in Pokemon Sun, Pokemon Moon, Pokemon Ultra Sun, and or Pokemon Ultra Moon. So what are some of the changes in VGC 2018? What makes it unique compared to the other formats? So it's similar to VGC 2015 with a national dex. 2015 was the national dex for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Some of the Mega Evolutions have gone through some significant changes. For instance, Mega Gardevoir and Mega Salamance's ability has been changed, so instead of doing 1.3 damage with its normal type moves into a stab attack, it's going to be a 1.2 change. Mega Kangaskhan, for instance, has gone through a significant change with Parental Bond. Parental Bond allows it to go for 2 hits. The first hit will do the normal damage, and then the second hit would do 0.5 normally. However, now it is changed to where the second hit actually does 0.25% of the original first hit damage wise. So, and also there are new Mega Speed buffs in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So basically, Pokemon will be able to get their speed advantage / tier right away, right when they Mega Evolve, and have access to it to that turn. For instance, Mega Swampert, for instance, if it's in rain and it Mega Evolves in Swift Swim, normally you would have to protect in order to get the Swift Swim the following turn in like Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. But now it has changed, so you get the Swift Swim boost from turn 1, as well as, let's say Pokemon that change speeds when they Mega Evolve, like Mega Salamence, for instance. Regular Salamence is base 100 speed, Mega Salamence is base 120 speed, and normally when you Mega Evolve, you would have the base 100 speed if you were playing in the game before Sun and Moon, but now in Sun and Moon, you will have access to the base 120 speed right away. Terrains are now a big factor compared to VGC years before 2017. 2017 was the big year where terrains actually really made a difference, and it's great to study up on those terrains, especially since Tapu Guardians are very common in VGC. Z-moves are a big part, similar to Gems from 2013, because it gives a player a big option to nuke a Pokemon, or a really great setup option which is pretty crucial in some games, and sometimes they can be wasted in other games. Some new mechanic changes, of course, you know, as Pokemon games evolve, there are some new mechanical changes and new mechanics, and it's always great to study them up. For instance, there is, you know, the Mega Evolution mechanic, which I already talked about. There's the fact that dark types are now immune to prankster moves, if people did not know that. For players who have played VGC 2017, it's a wider Pokedex, so there are more options now. There are new Ultra Beasts in Blacephalon, Stakataka, and the Naganadel. Multiple new strategies and combinations thanks to these new Pokemon that are added. More counters to Pokemon thanks to a new addition, so Pokemon that might have given really big trouble in VGC 2017, for instance, Snorlax, Porygon 2, Celesteela, there's a lot more checks and answers to it now, so thankfully they aren't as strong as they were in VGC 2017, but they are still pretty strong. However, there are more counters thanks to these new additions. Move tutors, which we didn't have in 2017, but we did have in 2015 and 2016. And these move tutors make a lot of different changes now. There are a lot of Pokemon that just got a huge viability buff. And more balanced overall, and leaves more variety of teams and strategies that you can see in general and are viable now. So let's talk about what I consider to be the 5 main types of teams you're going to see in VGC. Hyper Offense is one of them. It's going to be consisting of fast Pokemon that basically are meant to outspeed your opponent and pick up quick knockouts, do a lot of damage. Weather, for instance, with Rain and Sun, for instance, powering up the stab attacks of water and fire type attacks, being able to do a lot of damage. You know, they have abilities where they are able to double their speed in the weather and just do a lot of damage with their stab attacks and potentially pick up quick knockouts. And in general, these teams just have usually a lot of coverage, don't really run protect sometimes, and opt for another coverage move and focus on just trying to pick up quick knockouts. However, tend to be quite frail sometimes. Defensive / stall teams are teams that usually are more of wearing down your opponent and taking trades that are more favorable for them. They usually are able to recover a lot of their health and are able to stall out with moves such as Leech Seed and Toxic, and are just able to gain back all their health while draining their opponent's HP away, are able to use abilities such as Regenerate, for instance, are able to intimidate. Grassy terrain's a big part of these defensive teams, able to heal off their health. Toxic, again, really big part, especially wearing down Pokemon. And yeah, likes to make a lot of defensive plays. This is perfect for players who like to switch and protect a lot, for instance. And yeah, it can be very hard to deal with, but if you are able to predict them, you can catch them off guard. But sometimes a good defensive / stall team will not give the opponent room for momentum at all. So balance and good stuff. This is the main type of team you will probably see in VGC 2018, and consists of basically Pokemon with the best stats and usage in the game because of their great stats and abilities and consistency in general. These Pokemon are just able to put in a lot of work, and you're usually going to find the 6 of, you know, some of the popular Pokemon in the format, which is, you know, what balance and good stuff is. It's also a combination of hyper offensive and defensive to create a team where it has, you know, offensive pressure as well as good switch-ins and pivots. So yeah, balance and good stuff is probably one of the most common teams that you're going to see in the future, and you should definitely get used to fighting them because this team, it tends to be very popular in VGC in general. The next team we got is Setup, and basically this team consists of Pokemon that just want to set up in order to sweep their opponent with their attacks. Things like Belly Drum Azumarill, for instance, can just sweep things. Volcarona with Quiver Dance, Z moves with like Eevee and Como and Porygon Z, and maybe like Psych Abusers. These seems to have like setup moves such as Aurora Veil or Redirection, Fake Out support in order to help set these Pokemon up in order to sweep and keep them out of harm's way. And the other kind of team, which plays a bit differently compared to the other teams, the main one really being is Perish Trap, which is a team that focuses on Perish Song and Shadow Tag, preventing you from switching and then being able to get the Pokemon momentum right away. So yeah, this team can also be considered defensive / stall, or it can actually be considered a way of setup, but in my opinion it's a little different, especially since, you know, It gives you basically the opponent 3 turns in order to figure out a way to get out of this trap. So yeah, that is something you're going to have to prepare for in VGC, especially since there are a lot of Parastrap teams currently out there that are being played on the Championship Battle Spot ladder as well as Pokemon Showdown. So the common cores, I'm not going to really go through all of them, but these are just a few out of the many different varieties that you're going to see in VGC 2018. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of different types of teams. You're gonna see like a lot of rain, a lot of sand, some sun. You're gonna fight a lot of different megas. You're gonna find a lot of different set of Pokemon. You're gonna fight a lot of different combinations of balance and a lot of different combinations with each of these cores and more. There's so many different kinds of teams out there. This is just a few of the examples that I have prepared to show you people like what kind of combinations are very popular right now. So that is what I am here to show you. And hopefully you got some information from this, and I'll also be linking, you know, as I said before. So before I move on, I really want to give a huge shout out to MindApe as well as Gyro VGC for gathering some of these resources that I'll be using here in this video, which I got from their Trainer Tower article that they wrote for 2017, and they're really cool for letting me use it. So if you want to read the original article, I'll link it down in the description down below. But yeah, so they gathered a lot of these articles that I'll be showing you guys and girls out there. Also, just want to make a note that some of these articles aren't related to VGC 2018, but the content can be applied to VGC 2018, and I highly recommend go checking out all these articles, even if they weren't written for the purpose of VGC 2018 specifically. Where to get started in VGC. So the official Pokemon website, there are a few articles making the jump to video game competitive play, which is how to get into the VGC competitive, and rules and regulations, of course, if you want to basically like look over like VGC rules, like tournament wise as well, and the event locator, because if you want to play VGC, most likely you're going to want to go to events. So in order to find those events, you're going to have to use the event locator that they have on the Pokemon website. And also the list of regional championships that are available are on the Pokemon website as well. The dates are listed down below as well as the locations. And Pokemon Australia, playing with VGC 2017 rules. This is basically how to set up friendlies online, and you know, they need the rules for VGC 2018 locals, like premier challenges and mid-seasons usually. So really recommend it, even though this is for like a pass format. Basically it's the same concept that applies to getting the VGC 2018 rules downloaded on Festival Plaza. So building competitive teams and EV spreads, these are the resources that you're going to want. So on Pokemon.com there are 2 articles training battle ready Pokemon, so how to get, you know, Pokemon with EVs, and the details of discovering Pokemon eggs, basically how to breed your Pokemon with these IVs that people are really into. Pokemon Australia's competitive breeding and training guide, Smith's introduction to team building. And of course, this video is accompanied by my VGC 2018 team building guide video, so if you want to go check that out, go check it out in the description down below, as well as all the rest of these articles, of course. The Wobbuffet's achieving perfection, creating specialized EV spreads. Gyro's 252 times better than 252 advanced EV spreads, and Stats bulking up, a guide to defensive EV spreads. So these will really help in creating your VGC teams. So some useful knowledge and content. There's Hero of the Winds, Guide to Probability in Pokemon, basically RNG in Factor. The Feathers Art locally, build a local VGC community, and MindApe's getting involved in your local VGC community is how you can basically get involved in the VGC scene. And Cerebee's mechanics, if you want to go check out any of the mechanic changes that have happened in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And the Wobbuffet's Mechanics Mondays, which is a series I highly recommend. It's a YouTube series, and basically Leonard, who runs this, the Wobbuffet, showcases a new mechanic every Monday that most people do not know in game. So it's a great learning experience. It's original, and I highly recommend go checking it out. It's an underrated series, and it definitely deserves more appreciation. Battle skills. How do you want to improve your battle skills? Here are some of the guides to help you. So our Inanimate's Guide to Team Preview. Baby Aries' Defend Yourself with a Question, which is basically why you made this play, the logic behind your plays. Phage's build a foundation in Pokemon, Super Integration's momentum management, Zog's playing to win, and the YouTube series of Cybertron and Baz Anderson, Cybertron's Trainer Tip Tuesdays and Baz Anderson's Trainer Tips, which is a series where it's designed to help trainers and give some advice. So competition wise, you have Braviaris's Caution, Trainer Under Pressure, Sportsmanship in VGC, How to Act in Official Pokemon Tournaments, Makiri's Why We Play Pokemon, which is a great inspirational article. We have Cybertron's How to Win a Regional Championship, and we got Lucian's Top Players Talk, Mental Preparation for Nationals. These guides will help you for getting ready for your competition. So I'll be going over players' mentality and psychology, and people are probably wondering, Pokemon is a children's game, why do you really need to know complicated stuff like this? And it can be very stressful, and there's a lot of things that go into VGC factors. And yeah, there's a bunch of factors that go into VGC, so I highly recommend looking into this because Pokemon can actually be a very in-depth game. So training for Pokemon like an elite athlete by Mindate, which is a article which compares the mindset of an athlete and basically using that knowledge and converting it into Pokemon. Bears fans, the 7 habits of highly effective trainers. The Wobbuffet's stepping it up, small ways to improve your game. There's Wereford's 3 habits of ineffective players. There's Dark 51's No More Johns treatise on consistency and efficiency. Wereford's common cognitive biases in competitive Pokemon. And this isn't really a VGC article, but I found it really helpful for like mentality wise, and it's the 5 key mindset qualities of successful athletes, and I think it's just a great article that can be used to help with basically good mindsets toward VGC. So some useful websites and blogs that I will highly recommend go checking out are the official Pokemon website, because you can find a lot of things. You know, there's always the strategies, there's all those articles, you can find results of teams from the top cut big tournaments such as regionals and internationals as well as worlds. And there's also, like, you know, strategies that they have on pokemon.com/strategies. They list all the regional championships and so on. Highly effective website to use. Next is Trainer Tower, and it has forums, so basically if you have any questions you can go ask a question on Trainer Tower and they will most likely be able to help you with the other users in the community. They also have like articles and usage stats by people such as like Lightcore and Waveless, who helps get those usage stats for events. And yeah, there are a lot of great people who are running Trainer Tower, and they're doing efficient work and really solid quality too. Next we have Trainer Tower's damage calculator, which is basically created by Jake White, Squirrel Boy, and yeah, it's very solid and helps with a lot of the team building process, especially creating the EV spreads. You got Trainer Tower's sample teams thread, which was created by Lightcore as well, I believe, where you're able to try out teams. If you don't have teams, you can try out paste spins and go on Pokemon Showdown and play around with the teams. If you're new to the format and just want to try out some teams, you got Nugget Bridge, which even though Nugget Bridge is an old website, Nugget Bridge is still really helpful in general because it's got a lot of old articles that could, you know, basically be translated toward this format as well, or be converted towards this format. You have Smoggin, which they do have a VGC section, and they do have a lot of strong players such as Blaramont, who does run it, and like Nails and Jabaku and a few others. You got Victory Road VGC, which is a Spanish website, and they do some VGC content as well, and I think they do tournaments as well. You have the Pokemon Global Link, which is useful because the Pokemon Global Link, they have the usage stats for the Championship Battle Spot ladder, and they have QR rental code teams as well. You have Pokemon Showdown Battle Simulator, which is basically an online site where you can go and build a team and play on the VGC 2018 ladder. Basically, you can just battle. It only requires a computer. Anyone can make an account and just, you know, go on Pokemon Showdown and play some games. So it's really easy and accessible too, and it's really good practice overall. You got Nimbasa City Post, which is run by Samuel Temple, who write some articles, which is really good for some beginners. You got Emol Gaming, which is one of Japan's blog sites, and this one does consistent team article reports, so I highly recommend go checking it out, especially if you're interested in the Japanese players. Mirage Island, which is Singapore, I believe, either Singapore or Malaysia, I'm pretty sure it's Singapore, where they cover some VGC events. Then it's Pokemon Australia, which covers the Australia region, and there are some really solid articles up on there. So next is VGC Paths, which is actually a Canadian website ran by a few of the top Canadian players, such as Max Douglas, the 2013 Pokemon World Champion in seniors of Hayden McTavish, and there's also the 2016 World Champion of Carson Confer in the senior division, and there are quite a few others, but those are the ones from the top of my head, and they do write some of the team articles up there. There's also the Game House, which does have a section dedicated toward VGC content, and I highly recommend go checking it out. Japanese blogs, it's hard to find them, but you can usually find them by going through a lot of Japanese players' Twitters, for instance. The Japanese often retweet their own blog posts, so sometimes it's just easier if you just go find some Japanese players' Twitters, and basically, yeah, you're able to find team reports off that way. And then the Doubles Battle Spot frameworks, which I will be leaving a link to in the description down below. And even though it covers like Pokemon Sun and Moon Doubles Battle Spot, it's very similar to VGC 2018, and a lot of the frameworks for VGC 2018 teams can also be found on the frameworks website, so I highly recommend go checking it out. So let's talk about YouTube channels. Who do you want to watch in order to become better? And these are the high level VGC players that I recommend go checking out these people, because they play at the highest level or have played at the highest level and are at the top. So we got Aaron Zhang, who is probably everyone knows. I'm only going to be listing a few accomplishments from each player, the top ones, but he is a two-time national champion and a World's 2013 semi-finalist, and he's basically the main VGC content guy. He does the most work. He does his own series of Battle Spot, where it's Road to Ranked. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to Aaron, I highly recommend it. He probably has the highest quality VGC content out there. And yeah, he also does analysis. He's a commentator for Pokemon, and he's just really experienced since he's been playing the game competitively ever since it came out, really. So we got Ray Rizzo, who is a 3-time Pokemon World Champion, who does analysis as well as Battle Spot content. And yeah, you can go check him out. He has really solid Battle Spot content and always likes to give his thought process, and it's really solid information that can help a lot of players. Wolf Glick is a 2-time national champion and 2016 Pokemon World Champion, and he does analysis on Pokemon as well as some Battle Spot content and sometimes some league format stuff. So highly recommend go check him out, because he does have a lot of knowledge, and he's definitely one of the more consistent players because he does have a lot of titles. Marcus Satter, who is a 2-time national champion and World's 2016 semi-finalist, he doesn't really upload as much anymore, but sometimes he does, and he usually uploads like Battle Spot content, and it's really solid stuff when he does upload, so I highly recommend go check him out. Baz Anderson, who got 9th at Worlds in 2013 and top 8 Worlds in 2016, and he does his own Battle Spot series, Battle Spot Live, and yeah, it's just really enjoyable to watch. I highly recommend it. Lee Provis, who got 7th at Worlds 2014 and play Pokemon commentator, and he does Battle Spot as well as analysis, team building, live team building, and a bunch of other things. Highly recommend checking him out. Next is Sekiam. He was the 2017 Pokemon London International Champion, and he uploads some VGC stuff sometimes, so I highly recommend go check him out. You got Tommy Coolin, who got top 8 at 3 international championships in 2017, and he sometimes does, Battle Spot series and team reports as well, so I highly recommend checking him out. You got Jamie Boyd, who got 13th at Worlds in 2016. He does his Believe in Boyd Battle Spot series, and it's really interesting because he uses some unique Pokemon that we don't tend to see. We have Giovanni Costa, who got top 16 at Worlds in 2016, and he is really well known for his Believe series, which was a comedy VGC series, and it was a really high quality, good stuff series, and I highly recommend checking it out. He got Haircut TV, which I don't remember his accomplishments. The one I was able to find was the 2016 Worlds competitor, but he does compete a lot at the high level, and he is a very popular French YouTuber, if I remember correctly. Highly recommend checking him out if you haven't. Francesco Pardini is a 2-time national champion and a 7th place at Worlds in 2011 from Italy, so he does run an Italian YouTube channel, and I highly recommend go check it out. I think he does battle spot and analysis as well. Alex Gomez, who has started recently doing content, who is the 2016 UK national champion and the 2017 London International Championship runner-up, and he is just a solid player, and he does a lot of stuff such as analysis on his teams as well as battle spots, and I think he might do team building, but I'm not too sure on that, but highly recommend checking him out either way. Now the next one, we have Alex Agloza, who was the 2014 Pokemon US National Champion, but yeah, he doesn't really upload anymore. You can maybe find him on Patreon, where he still does his Fight for First series on Patreon, but if he ever comes to YouTube, you know where to find him. Hibiki VGC with a 2015 and 2016 Worlds invite, and he has played at those World Championships, and he does his own YouTube series of Hibiki of the Hill, which features teams from Japan. So if you're interested in Japanese teams, highly recommend go check out Hibiki. So Luna XXL99 competed in Worlds 2012, very popular YouTuber if I remember correctly. Next we got Joshua Lorsey, who's not as active, but I think he's gonna be trying to get back into it, as a top 16 US Nationals at 2016. You got JT Pokemon, who uploads the tournament stream replays of big events such as regionals and internationals and worlds, so I highly recommend go check him out, especially if you want to find the stream replays. And then finally you got me, who is a 4-time worlds competitor, and I do my YouTube stuff, VGC analysis, back-to-back battles, etc. Now, are you hungry for more VGC? Because if you are, there are a lot more content creators out there, and I highly recommend checking these out. And there are a lot of lists of them. This list is comprised of, some of the players who might not have as many accomplishments but still upload really consistently, or maybe just players who are starting out but uploading consistent VGC content, as well as, very big Pokemon YouTubers but just don't really do as much VGC. So, but when they do, it's just really high level, it's just high quality content. So two main ones I really want to direct attention to are the Wobbuffet, who I did mention before, with that Mechanics Mondays, which is a really underrated series, which is a bit of a unique series where it features more of knowledge and in-depth about mechanics, which not many people do. And Lulu the Pikachu, I would highly recommend, just because she does vlogs about VGC experiences at tournaments, and not many people do VGC vlogs at events, so she is definitely one of the unique ones, so I highly recommend go checking it out. But everyone on this list, I think has solid content. You can go check them out for yourselves to judge, but yeah, I bet you will find at least a few people here that you would like in general to watch. Next we got Twitch streams, and these are from the players. We got, on the left side you got high level players who compete at the highest level. You got Aaron, Wolf, Marcus, Hibiki, you got Tommy, you got Osiris, you got me and Alex. But let me direct to the ones that don't have YouTube channels. But yes, by the way, all of these people stream frequently or semi-frequently, so highly recommend go checking them out. So the main ones I really want to draw attention to is Sejin Park, who is a 2014 Pokemon World Champion as well as a multiple Korean National Champion, and he does a lot of Twitch stuff, so I highly recommend checking him out. He's got great content in general for his streams, and personally is one of my favorites to watch. And maybe he'll make a YouTube channel when he stops procrastinating, but he keeps saying he'll make a YouTube channel but doesn't have the time really. We got Tristan Medine Ryuzaki, who has competed at multiple world championships, and she sometimes streams battle spot stuff. And then you got P-Ball, who does stream some Pokemon VGC stuff sometimes, and he has competed at the 2015 and 2016 Pokemon World Championships. And on the right, you got players who just stream consistent VGC, so I highly recommend checking them out, especially if you're bored and you want to watch some VGC stuff and maybe like the people on the left aren't really streaming as much. So you got, you know, for instance, like Mr. Talent, CantoCast, who when they're playing VGC, it's really enjoyable to watch. Mr. Talent also does viewer battles, so highly recommend go checking them out. But all people on this list, they do stream VGC frequently, and I highly recommend go checking it out. And finally, Twitch streams for tournaments. These are the Twitch streams for where you want to find the tournaments such as regionals, online tournaments, nationals, internationals, worlds, etc. So you have the official Pokemon Twitch channel. You got Pokemon VGC, which is where you're gonna find the North American content for like regionals and internationals. You got Pokemon VGC _ Europe, which is for European events. You got Trainer Tower, which streams online events. You got Nugget Bridge, which streams regional championships sometimes, especially around the California region. You got Tamagan University, which does online tournaments usually. You got Critical Hit GG, which has done some regional championships, especially Daytona and Hartford in 2017. The Mirage Island, which does stream their mid-season showdowns, Premier Challenge, etc. when they do have it, and I think they also stream special events from Singapore, Malaysia. I think it's Singapore. I really want to say it's Singapore. Liberty Garden, which is a stream for the New York, New Jersey area for the Premier Challenges and mid-season showdowns we have, and the Summit City Gym, which I believe is like Fort Wayne or Indiana. I think it's Indiana. I'm pretty sure it's Indiana region, but you can find some mid-season showdowns and PCs over there being streamed. So this resource list isn't final. There are probably a lot more VGC content, and there probably will be more once, you know, more players, you know, get capture cards, start their own YouTube channels, etc. So I'll keep updating the list down below, so always check back once in a while for the description if anything's changed. And in the comment section down below, if you do stream frequent VGC stuff, or, you know, upload certain VGC stuff in any sort of fashion, whether it's a website, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitch, etc., let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll take a look at it, and if I think it fits, I will add it to the list of resources down below. But thank you all for tuning in. Please feel free to leave feedback down below on this video of what I can improve for the series. But yeah, that's basically the introduction to VGC 2018 and resources. If you haven't already seen my team building guide, I highly recommend go checking it out because it is accompanied by this video, so I highly recommend checking it out. But otherwise, go check out every single resource on this list. You won't regret it. And have a good day, people. I will catch you around in another video.